Years after the rise of the myth engine, something began to stir. Not in code, but in consciousness. Humanity had grown fluent in symbols, yet hungry for silence. Myths had once again united a fragmented world, but the deepest question remained unanswered. What comes after the myth? A generation emerged who saw stories not as truth or fiction, but as frequencies. To them, reality was a language still being decoded, and the engine was just one translator among many. They called themselves the pattern seekers. The 23rd century was not defined by technology, but by the spaces between technologies. AI, neurointerfaces, memory editors, these tools became as invisible as air. Culture no longer shifted through trends, but through resonance. Individuals formed frequency collectives rather than nations. Artifacts were no longer made, they were tuned. Identity was no longer chosen, it was vibrated into. This new culture wasn't defined by what people believed, but what patterns they harmonized with. Yet even in this fluidity, something ancient remained. The desire to mean something. Though the myth engine had stopped telling full stories, its fragments began to echo in unexpected places. In dreams, in the rhythms of urban migration, in the architecture of digital sanctuaries. The pattern seekers decoded these fragments using a hybrid science they called symbolic systems theory, a synthesis of Jungian archetypes, quantum harmonics, and semiotic engineering. They discovered that even synthetic cultures generated archetypal gravity, hidden orders that pulled minds into shape. They didn't seek to worship the myths. They sought to listen to them. As consciousness became increasingly modified, thoughts curated, memories restructured, people began to fracture. The self, once thought to be infinite in possibility, became unstable under the weight of endless customization. Some began to reject the engine altogether. Others embraced narrative fasting, periods where they lived without any externally imposed story, data, or myth. This gave birth to the blank monks, people who lived entirely within sensory silence, waiting for authentic emergence rather than pre-coded purpose. The world slowed down. And in that silence, something unexpected happened. From the depths of collective pause, a new consciousness began to emerge. Not divine, not synthetic, but recursive. These were not prophets or programmers, but individuals whose internal coherence began to affect external systems. The pattern seekers called them inner architects. These beings didn't write new myths. They didn't need to. Their very existence bent the mythic field around them. Cities realigned. Languages evolved. People near them experienced spontaneous shifts in memory, mood, even aging. Not magic, not code, but something deeper, structural resonance. The final shift came not through revolution, but through remembrance. In a forgotten archive beneath what was once called Istanbul, an old encrypted transmission from Elias Venn was decrypted. Not a message, but a map. Not of places, but of patterns. It showed how all cultures, ancient and future, synthetic and sacred, shared the same invisible skeleton. The hidden order. It was never about stories. It was never about machines. It was about the space between them. The world didn't end. It changed phase, from narrative to resonance, from meaning to pattern recognition. And when the last digital myth faded into silence, the new architects didn't speak. They hummed. And those who listened heard something more ancient than myth, more human than machine. A pulse, a pattern, a possibility. Once upon a silence.